In today's episode, I took you along with me in a day in my life as a soap business owner and soap maker. I head to my studio to make a candle, not just any candle, a dyed candle. I show you my entire process and share my thoughts on this new and exciting ingredient. All of that and more in a day in the life of a soap business owner. Cheers! This very appealing looking drink is something that I call green drink for obvious reasons, but it has spirulina in it, squirt of lemon, some collagen, and apple cider vinegar. It's a quick and fast way to get a bunch of nutrients into my system, and I honestly think that it helps my skin and my digestive system, all that good stuff. Welcome to my office. Let's answer some emails. 128 emails. Ugh. And we are all caught up. Who do you see out there? Are there dogs out there? Hey.
Hello.
What are you doing?
Gonna just heat up some lunch. Got some leftover seafood gumbo here from the other night.
Oh,
that I'll heat
yum.
up. And I'm making a new pot of rice over there.
This is the first time that Kale has attempted seafood gumbo, and it turned out amazing.
It's dang good. It could use a little bit more spice though, but the flavor is there.
Yep. This is our lunch for today. Delicious gumbo. That lunch was so good, and now that I've eaten it, I'm gonna head down to the studio and work on that candle. Welcome to the studio. For today's candle, I'm just going to be making one single candle because we are going to be testing quite a few things. Not just the fragrance oil that we are using to see whether or not it gives a good hot throw when lit, but I'm going to be coloring this candle for the first time. I bought liquid candle dyes, I bought a solid candle dye block, and I want to see what this looks like in action. The wax that we are using today is a cocoa apricot wax. I have been loving this wax sent to me by Mont Rouge Canada. I've made a few candles with it now, and those candles have turned out fantastic. As for the fragrance oil, I'm going to be using Strawberry Shortcake by Mont Rouge. This smells amazing. It smells like strawberries and cream and vanilla, and I thought it would be perfect for this candle since it's going to go into a doll themed box. The vessel I'm going to be using are these straight-sided glass jars from Uline. I love these jars for candle making. They are durable, they're great quality, and the candles that I make with these guys look amazing. And I touched on it earlier, I'm going to be using liquid candle dye to try to color my candle today. I've never used these guys before, and that's why testing is so important. I would ideally like to know exactly how much liquid dye I need for the wax in order to get it the color that I want it to be. I got solid color dye blocks too, and I don't know if I'll be using them today, but we'll see. The plan right now is to just use the liquid dye. Let's get going. The first step is chopping up this wax and putting it into my candle wax melting vessel. And I have this one that I got from Village Craft and Candle. It's a great little pouring pot. It's metal, it's durable. So I'm gonna take this picture and I'm gonna put it on my scale and tare it so I know just how much wax I'm putting into it. And cocoa apricot wax is pretty soft. It's really similar to soy wax, actually, but it's super easy to work with, especially if it comes in a solid block like how Mont Rouge sells it. A lot of people prefer pellets, me included. I prefer the pellets. That is the easiest form of wax to work with, but these slabs aren't bad. I like them. So if I cut off chunks of it, just like that, it's very easy. Cocoa butter is a lot harder than this. That was 38 grams right there. And to find out how much wax you need for your candle vessel, there's a formula you can use, and it's what I use to figure out how much wax and fragrance oil I need for the candle vessels that I use. I'll link that video right up here. And thank you to everyone who took the time to write me a message on my last video, giving me all their tips and tricks on how to use candle dyes. I've read all of your tips and tricks and I'll be using quite a few of them in this video today. For easier cleanup, I like to gather as much wax as possible and put it into that melting pot so I can get it all in the jar. So I have my wax measured out into my melt container. I'm going to set this into a water bath so I can melt that wax slowly and evenly. While that wax is melting down, I'm going to prep my jars. I'm going to be using these CDN wicks from Eau Rouge. And to stick them on, I use these wick stickers that I got from Amazon, and they work pretty good. Once I remove the wick sticker from the roll, I stick it to the bottom of the wick, and I press pretty hard. And this part I stick to the bottom of my jar. Get that in the center. I use a skewer to push that down. I test how stuck it is, because I definitely want this to be pretty stuck to the jar. This passes the pull test, and it's ready for my wax to pour into the candle. So the wax is completely melted. We're going to take the temperature just to see where it's at. And we are at 185, which is great. We are gonna now add our dye, which is exciting. I've never done this before. And one of the tips that a lot of you gave me in my last video was be very sparing with the dye because it's very concentrated. Like literally start with a couple of drops and see where that goes. So I'm gonna do that. So let's take some of this dye. It looks kind of messy, which might explain why. For a brand new bottle, there's smudges and stuff around it. And it's not coming out. Smack it a bit. Nope, that's not working. I might have to take off the top of it. Which could explain why some of you said that liquid dye can be messy to work with. So I was reading the instructions and it says to add the dye when the wax is below 180 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna wait a little bit, which shouldn't take too long. Wax cools pretty fast once you take it away from the heat source. So I managed to pull off that stopper that was keeping the dye from coming out. I'm gonna take a pipette to have a better control over the dye. I'm gonna start with maybe 4 drops, see what happens. Because it said 8 drops for every 454 grams of wax, and I have about half of that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of that dye, put it back in the bottle. It is pretty concentrated, like look at my finger. Oh wow. Look at that. Oh wow. That's deep. But apparently it gets lighter. You guys have told me that it gets much lighter as it dries. And then another person said to get a spoon and to dip it, and as it cools you get kind of a sense of what that color looks like, so I'm going to do that now. I have a spoon here and it's a little cooler than room temperature. I'm going to dip it in and see what color I get. It's showing this definitely a magenta shade, so I think we're good for that. I think the color of the wax is fine. Now to add my fragrance oil and stir for about 2 minutes. I'm going to work a little bit faster here. I'm kind of working slow because this is all so new to me. So I'm going to take my fragrance oil and measure out what I need. Oh my gosh, it smells like candy, like cake and candy. The flash point of the strawberry shortcake is cooler than what I've worked with, which works good for this wax. I'm making candles at a much cooler temp than I usually do. All right, so here's my fragrance oil. I'm gonna pour it into my wax here. There goes my fragrance oil, and let's stir. So I am ready to pour. I've been stirring for 2 minutes to really bind that fragrance oil with the wax. And I have this on the side for any extra wax I might get. Whoa, that looks pretty dark. Let's get that to the top. And I do have some extra. Pour the rest into my little silicone tray. With little wax melts. Oh, that was a little much. It's okay. So here is our candle. It's looking really dark. We need to put in a wick center. Let me go grab one. So we're going to let this cool down and see what it looks like once everything has solidified. I can see at the bottom of the glass here that it's starting to lighten up quite a bit. So that's exciting. But when the wax is wet, it does look really dark, which can scare some people. So we'll see what it looks like in a couple of hours. So here it is, halfway solidified, and look at that cool ombre. I know that's not what the final candle is gonna look like, but it's still cool to see. It looks like I'm gonna get the color that I was looking for, a nice pink color, and I'll show you what it looks like in a couple of hours. So the candle hasn't fully cooled off yet, but you can see that it's a really nice pink candle. I do want my candles to be a little lighter than this, so maybe 2 drops next time, but 4 drops you get this gorgeous magenta color. I do have a sinkhole, unfortunately, but that is easily fixed. I totally forgot about these little wax melt samples that I made here. Just gonna pop them out because that's always super satisfying. And that's another thing you can do with wax, is make little wax melts for people to burn in their wax melt burners. I found a cheap one at a thrift store for like $3 and I love it. One thing you could also do with these guys is put them in candles as a little embed. Imagine this is like right here. How cute would that be? Oh wow, I think I might do that actually. Guys, one thing I'll do when I fix a sinkhole and the top of the candle is all melted again, I'm gonna stick one of these heart embeds in there so that it looks like a nice little heart candle. Cute. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to fix the sinkhole using a heat gun. So I point directly on top of this wax. And now that the top of that wax is melted, I'm gonna put one of these little heart embeds on top so that it dries with the heart embed in it. See this? Plop. Hopefully dry into a really cute heart. I've never done embeds and candles before, but I think it looks really cute. So now that that is in place, I'm gonna wait for all the wax to harden and I'll show you what that looks like. I think the little heart embed would make more of an impact if it was a different color from the rest of the wax, but we'll see. So here's the candle semi-solid. I was kind of short on time, so I couldn't show it completely solid, but you can already see how cute it looks. I am so excited by this candle. Watch the next vlog to see it completely finished and ready to test. We are going to power burn this guy, see how long it actually lasts, and also test the hot throw of this fragrance oil, whether or not it fills a room with scent, because like I said, that's one of my markers for success when it comes to a good candle. But this will be cured over a few days, so it could be the best that it could be. So I'm hoping for a good candle by the end of it. I'm so glad this to-do is done. Now Kayla and I can go to dinner and the concert for our date night, so come along with us. So here is the outfit for tonight. I have some fun long sleeves, kind of giving cowgirl vibes, and it's a country music concert, so I think this is perfect for it. Let's see what Kayla's up to. This is your outfit of the day.
It's my giddy up. Not much different from what I normally wear.
If Dempsey approves. Gibson, what do you think?
You look great though.
Oh, thank you. Ready to go to dinner?
Yeah. Let's
do it.
Take the dogs out.
Okay. For date night, Kale had bought tickets to see Aaron Goodvin. The show was going to be at the King Eddie, which is in downtown Calgary. Coming from Ontario, I'm still amazed at how quickly Kale and I can get to downtown. Literally 25 minutes and we're there. And I love Calgary's downtown area. We decided to stop by a nice Vietnamese restaurant called Lotus, which is right by where they filmed The Last of Us. We stumbled on that set a while back and it looked like the apocalypse, which was interesting to see. Kale got a banh mi sandwich and I got my usual bowl of pho, which is a delicious beef noodle soup. After dinner, we headed to the King Eddie for the show. The King Eddie is now a music venue and bar, but it used to be the King Edward Hotel, Calgary's second oldest hotel and longest operating bar, which they closed in 2004. In 2008, the National Music Center acquired the historic space and transformed it to its new form as an amazing music venue, and they also reopened the restaurant. Hailey Benedict opened, and she's an 18-year-old country music artist who is so talented she blew us away, but the real draw was Aaron Goodvin, and he was incredible. These seats, we got it by pure luck. A reservation fell through and we got to sit here right in front of the stage. But that's it for today's vlog. If you watched this far, thank you so much, and leave a like in my video if it put a smile on your face. If you enjoyed watching a day in the life of a soap business owner, don't forget to subscribe for more awesome soap making and soap business content. Finally, a huge shout out to my patrons. If you want to support the channel and get access to over 80 recipes, there's a link down below. My patrons are so important to me and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. Stay tuned for the power burn of that candle in the next vlog. Until then, keep smiling, keep being awesome, and keep making beautiful things. Bye guys.